Welcome. I'm Carl Frederick, and I will be interviewing individuals for Kenosha Voices, an oral history project of the Kenosha County Historical Society in conjunction with Kenosha Community Media. I have worked in newspapers for more than 40 years as an editor and a reporter. 38 and a half of those years were at the Kenosha News. I am also a member of the Kenosha County Historical Society Board. We hope you enjoy these programs. I'm speaking with Matt Troha, longtime mentor of Unified School students in elementary and middle school. Since 1997, the Kenosha Area Business Alliance has mentored kids in elementary and middle school with the Association of the Unified School District. CAFASI, Kenosha Area Seniors and Aging Services, has also had a mentoring program, as has Jockey, who has a mentoring program at Lincoln Middle School. Thank you for joining me today, Matt.
Thank you for asking me to come today.
Okay. When did you begin mentoring?
I believe it was in 2004 at Jeffrey Elementary.
Okay, and how did you get involved?
At my work, a man by the name of Kelly Infacino, I think, was a mentor at Cobb at the time, and he had mentioned that they were looking for mentors, so I put my name out there, and then they linked me up with a young child named James at Jeffrey Elementary.
Okay. And was it just Terry mentioning that to you? Did you look into it first? Did you just kind of jump in?
I usually jump into things in life, so I said, all right, they need mentors, I'm ready to do it. So,
okay, and tell me what the process was for becoming a mentor.
I believe I just had to fill out a form, and they probably did obviously a background check on me. At the time, I had actually went to Jeffrey as a young child. When I went to law school, I came back. I wanted to live in the Jeffrey district, so I asked. The first question I asked was there anyone available at Jeffrey to mentor? So I think they looked over and found somebody for me. And I filled out a form. I think they did a background check, and then I started back in September of 2004.
Okay. And what did you look for? Did they come to you and ask what kind of a student are you looking for? Did you tell them kind of what you would like to do?
At that time, I had asked them just for anyone that needed some help, needed a mentor, male or female, did not matter.
Okay. And who have you had in those 20 years that you've been mentoring?
I believe I'm on my 7th or 8th child right now. So I've had the first two I had were, first name was James, and I think his brother after that was Michael. And I believe I'd had at least 6 or 7 more since then. And most of these children that I've had were males. I think I've had one female that was at Jeffrey for 3 years. But mostly, I guess, about 6 to 8, maybe 7 or 8 mentees I've had over the last, how many years? 19 years.
Okay, and what do you find these students' home life like?
I don't know if I've ever had, at least until last year before, a child that either doesn't have a parent that's deceased or a parent that's in prison. I've had ones, at least 2 or 3, that have had both parents in prison, or one deceased, one's in prison, and living with their grandmother or grandfather. But most of the time, it's going to be someone who has either a deceased parent or at least 1 or 2 parents that are in prison.
Okay. And how much of a time commitment is the mentoring?
It's about an hour a week. I usually go to the school and meet with the child because they have school going on at the time, so I got to try to find a time for them to meet with me, which is usually during their lunch hour or during one of their lower classes they can do.
Okay, so what do you do with the student that you meet that 1 hour per week?
I rarely have ever encouraged to do homework unless they really need homework help. I usually push that should go on at home. But if they need help, obviously I'll help them. Usually we'll play games. I'll ask them about their home life, what's going on with their home life, how they're feeling that day, if something's going on at school that's bothering them. Because a lot of these children don't have that mentor in life to be able to talk to someone about it and feel confident to get some advice right back.
Okay, and it sounds as if you're very emotionally involved
Passionate.
with the student.
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
So do you do more than just that 1 hour a week in school?
If I have time, I coach usually from August through December, 6-7 days a week. So usually come the springtime and wintertime, I can maybe do it 2 hours a week, but obviously I have to work every day, but usually about an hour or 2 a week.
Have you ever met with your mentees outside of school?
No. The only time I've maybe ever met them was at their parents' house or grandparents' house. but that was about it.
Okay, why would you have been at the parents' or grandparents' house?
Sometimes the parent wanted to meet me, or the grandparent wanted to meet me. A lot of the times the mentee would say, hey, can you meet my grandmother, grandfather, or mom or dad? And there's been times where I thought there's a time that needs to be done with the parent or the grandparent, that something's not going on right at school, homework's not getting done, and more importantly, this mentee is having a problem in life. So I'd ask to meet with them and then go to their house.
Can you think of any unique circumstances that you have run into with one of your students or another?
I've had students whose families don't celebrate holidays, so I've actually had one or two of my mentees come to my holiday for Christmas or Thanksgiving, once or twice at least. I do remember one time that he had actually come for about an hour, and it was too much for him because they're not used to the joyous kind of celebrations that go on around the holidays. They're used to kind of just a laid-back holiday with nothing really going on, and it was actually too much for him. So he stayed for about an hour, and then I brought him back home. But I've had them at my house for the holidays when they weren't having the holidays. And like I said, I've met with the parents or grandparents. And most of the time, the grandparents or parents are happy that I'm mentoring him or her. And they'll usually get a hold of me on the side just to see how she or he is doing.
Okay. What qualities do you think is important for a mentor to possess?
You have to be passionate. It's not a paid position, so you go there, you should want to give your 1 or 2 hours a week and give every minute of that time to that mentee. I'm more probably direct and blunt with my mentees, like what's going on. You're not doing good in school, why not? And to get out of them what's going on that day. Most of the time it's home life. That's why they're not getting their stuff done. I usually don't back off with my mentees. One big thing I asked by the last 5 or 6 years at Lance Middle School is give me the most difficult mentee you have with the most difficult situation. So if they're not doing good in school, they're not listening, or they just need that mentor, I want the most difficult one that you have that you think needs the most help.
Do you think you've gotten the most difficult?
I've got some difficult ones. I don't always conquer them, but I do my best. But as you get more into it, you find out things as if the child is suicidal, and they've never told a parent that, and they've never told anybody that. So, and I'll get somebody else involved once that happens.
Do you ever share any of what you've learned about your mentee with school officials or anything back at the home?
Yeah. If it's going to be a harm to the child, without a doubt, definitely go to the school officials. And most of the time, the counselors of where I've been at Jeffrey and Lance will ask how he or she is doing to see what's going on. Because if you have a child that acts out in class or just not doing very well, and you don't know what the reason is, and you might just be thinking he or she is just not wanting to listen, only to find out that maybe they talked to their parent, or was a parent in prison the other day, and they're still upset about it. So it's good to kind of get out what's going on with them during the day. So.
Okay. What do you think you get out of being a mentor? What the contribution that you get for yourself?
There's not everyone's fortunate enough that I was growing up. I had a very good mother and father that did everything they could for us. Both my father didn't have a father past the age of 8, so I think he did a very good job as a father raising me and my brother and sisters. My mother was very, very much the same way. Her father passed away when she was really young, probably about 20 years old or so. So I've kind of had a very fortunate life, so I want to give back to the community, to the children that don't have that.
Okay. How do you measure success with a mentee?
They want to meet with me every week. Most of the time, if I'm sick or maybe I have to go out of town for work, my happy moment is the week I come back and the mentee says, "Where were you at last week?" The ones that, if they don't ask me that, then I know they didn't care about, I didn't come. But it's usually, hey, if they see me in the hallway when I'm coaching at Lance, they say, "Hey, by the way, I won't be here Wednesday. I'm going to be out of town for a field trip. Can we meet Thursday?" So the more they want to meet with me, the better. And that doesn't always happen, but I think the more that they actually want to come to me and talk to me, the better.
Okay. Now, you mentioned that you have had 8 or 9 students in your 20 years or so.
Correct.
Have you followed them from elementary into middle school, or did you just have someone in elementary and then have someone at middle school?
I've followed most of them because when I was over at Lance with my children who played sports there, I was able to see them at Lance, so I was able to follow them from Jeffrey to Lance. I didn't always mentor most of them went from Jeffrey to Lance because I was still staying at Jeffrey, but I was able to follow them at Jeffrey, and then when they went on to Tremper or Ruther or ITA, I was able to somewhat stay in contact with the family at least. Not all of them. There's probably 2 or 3 that I still talk to on Facebook or just text back and forth. But I'd say probably 1/3 of them I still talk to. The other ones I see on Facebook, I don't reach out to them due to privacy and make sure they want to reach out to me first. But I try to stay in contact with them. But like I said, if they're at Jeffrey, I try to see them at Lance years ago when I was coaching there, or my younger kids were there too. So.
Okay, so you share with your students your Facebook that they can
No, but
reach
I mean,
you.
as they're older now, if they're 20
Yeah.
years old, yeah, correct,
Okay,
yes,
so-
yep, if they reach out.
And how do
definitely.
they know at age 20 how to get a hold of you?
Correct, yep.
How do you?
How do they? They usually message me on Facebook. One of them, particularly, his name is Christian, and he texts me, asks how I'm doing, tells me how he's doing. I just talked to him last week, so if they reach out to me, even better, because I know they want to talk to me still. So ask for advice, and just they've yet to ask for money, which is a good thing, but they always ask for advice, which is good.
Okay. Well, currently there are 90 students in the unified school system that have mentors. What would you say to somebody who would think about being a mentor or wonder if it's a good idea for them to do so or not? What would you say to them?
First thing I would say is go do it. Don't even think about it, and bring a friend with you, because we need many more of them. But definitely, there's a lot of children out there that don't have what some of us have. They don't have a parent that's there from. But to definitely go do it. You'll feel a lot better about yourself every week when you leave. You're going to have some rough weeks with some mentees that you have, because they have a rough life, and you got to kind of help them with that. And when you leave that school, remember that you're helping them. And even if you help them just a tiny bit, it's better than having nothing or no one there for them.
Well, thank you for joining me today.
Yeah, no problem, no problem. So.